Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the end of a workshop day. I've said many times, these are different channels. Many times the messages are just for those who attend. And yet the instructions for my partner are to publish all channels, to make sure they can be heard and felt. So there are listeners that, of course, are not attendees. Some of what I'm going to say to you, dear ones, sitting in the chairs in front of me, it's going to be appropriate also for those listening. But this is mainly for this group. There's a truth here, a beautiful one that's hard to imagine and to cognize, that God is real, that the creative source of the universe, immense as it is part of you. That's the plan. That's how you're wired. This is also part of the creation story, the angelic presence, if you want to call it that. It has given you the seed biology. The creative story is that you were given on purpose the knowledge of light and dark. And with free choice, you can choose the divine or not. It is a beautiful story that encompasses a plan. And the plan has you discovering who you are. God is real and available. And in this new energy, more than available. Perhaps even standing and waiting. What makes this so unbelievable to most of those who are humans anywhere on this planet is that it's almost an oxymoron. You believe that you are so small. How could a God care? The one who set the stars in motion. How could a God care? And yet that which is your consciousness sometimes expands as big as God. And you know this, that the body that you are in, small as it might be, has a piece of the Creator and a consciousness potential that is immense. That's the oxymoron. So at some level, you know I'm right. Also, at some level, you know that your soul keeps going when the body is finished. Those two things add up to a partial belief. But the message for those in front of me are this. Messages, really, are this. That each one of you is on a separate individual path, and many of you are struggling with a basic concept. Not that God is real or not, but the concept is, can you apply any of this today, really, to yourself? Can you change your situation? I know who's here. And your situation can be that is what is occurring around you, or what is happening in your life, or what is happening in the cells of your body. And like so many others, the tradition, the biases, what you were told, all conspire against you. And you feel just a little apart from that which has been presented for 2 days. Some of you have actually crawled into your shell. I know who's here. And although you have listened and heard everything, it really hasn't gotten very far. Some of you have made up your mind that what you've heard here is for someone else in the chair, not you. It didn't seem to ring true. It didn't seem to apply. And that's because the shell that you've built around yourself is a very tough one. And the shell is of your own making, of course. You deciding in advance that you can't do it. Some of you come because you're looking for that which would penetrate the shell. And maybe at this point in time, you said, well, maybe this wasn't it. Others of you, you had the information given this weekend. You saw the profundities, the beauty, perhaps even felt the compassion. And yet when you leave this place, you can't really call it your own. You can't own it. Not yet. You see, I know who's here. What gets in the way is what always gets in the way. The past. The lack of self-worth. What you were taught. What you think you know. I want to take you on a journey. And you've got to agree to fantasize with me. This is not going to work. It's not going to harm anyone here. I want you to visualize things with me, and I want you to feel these things with me. That's why you came. You came for change. You came for knowledge. You came for wisdom, perhaps an awareness, an awakening, anything that would then create a situation which would better who you are. So perhaps you could leave a little differently than you came. That is the purpose of being in the chair. You've invested in yourself. So why not do this final exercise in this workshop day? It's a fantasy. It's a metaphor. Some would even say it's cute, but it's as real as it gets. I want to introduce you to something. The fantasy has you with your own consciousness in a vision state. Some would say a dream. I say a vision. For the word vision is going to give you permission for anything to happen. Visions, unlike dreams, are remembered and feel real at the time. I invite you to step aside of yourself for just a moment. If you can, if you wish to, even if you can't, understand, acknowledge, cognize that God is here. That this message is from the other side of the veil and knows your name. And invites you to participate right now. Come with me in this vision. Step out of that which is your condition, your situation. Just for a moment, if you can. Leave your worries at the door. Just for a moment. Won't take long. What would you envision if you were standing into a room that was completely and totally blank and white? There was nothing there. And something is going to appear, and it's going to be for you. There's a door. And the door has a label on it. And the door has the label that says, Mysteries of the Body. If you were making a movie, music goes here. The door has that label because it has to be just a little, what you say, interesting and yet untouchable to some. For that is something you may not want to know. What mysteries lie beyond the door? That's the door you're going to open. We're going to open it together. And you realize in this blank room, the body that they are speaking of in the sign is you. It's not about the human body. It's your name goes here, body. You're about ready to open the door of the mysteries. Now, why should you have to open a door at all? And this is one of the metaphors. There is literally a wall between you and your cells. When you look down at your body, you don't tend to greet it. You even call it by its part. You say, my leg hurts instead of I hurt. My toe hurts instead of I hurt. The pieces and the parts of your body, you're not in contact with them. There's a wall between you. That's part of what the workshop is about. How to get through the wall. Well, you're about ready to go. Because this door has been created for you right now, today, in this exercise. I want you to open it with me. No fear, no anxiety. You'll see why in a moment. You open the door and you see that it's a bit stubborn. You have to pull a little. Because that wall between you and your cellular structure is a tough one. Finally, the door comes open, wide open. And you start hearing that which perhaps is the sounds of the body. You're not really familiar with those sounds. One of the biggest features always is your heart. You hear that first, and then there's more. There's the sound of running fluids, even perhaps the snap of the synapse and the electricity. All of that. It's a little strange. You're not ready to enter just yet. Then you realize this is just you, so why not? You walk over the threshold of this door, and suddenly you're in another world. As you look forward in this metaphor, you realize you're in some kind of, for a better word, control room. You can see that which is the control of specific things in your body. You recognize it somehow. There's the heart, the brain. There's the pineal. And a few other things. You don't see the control over specific systems like you thought you might. But still, it is a control room. And then you realize something, that you're not alone. That in this control room, there's just a myriad of small entities. And you're starting to realize that they're your DNA. And then you start to see they have names on them. Little badges. And every badge has the same name. You. You've stepped into the control room of everything in your body. You start to realize that there are an enormous number of these little entities. You're not afraid of them. They haven't noticed you yet. These little badges are all over them. On their backs, on their fronts, they've got your name. Your name is on all of them. All working together the best they can, and then something happens. Something amazing happens. Everything falls silent for a moment. You hear what you might recognize and perceive as a gasp when they all realize you've entered the room. Then they turn and show themselves to you. You see that they're shocked, they're amazed. You see just for a moment, they are stunned. And then there's this big smile on every single one of them when they realize the celebrity in the room is you. Suddenly they start towards you and they crowd around you. You can feel them, millions of them just touching you. So happy that you've actually entered the room. Others come in. This may seem odd. You hear, you feel the flash bulbs going off. Look who's here. Look who's here. It couldn't be so. The boss has arrived. They are so enamored that they get to meet you. When in human history, in the past, you never visited the room, ever, ever. And the wall was simply there, and they guessed the whole time who you were. And then they back off. The language of the cells you don't understand. They don't speak English. They don't speak French. They don't speak Portuguese. They don't speak Spanish. They don't speak anything but cell language. And you can tell that they want to say something. They have their hands, if you can imagine hands on DNA. They have their hands outstretched. Like they're asking a question. And then you realize that collectively they're sending a message to you. One question. What can we do for you? From their standpoint, it's been eons since the actual God consciousness of who they serve has walked into a room. And they've never really had the communication. They've had signals, partial messages, and they never met the boss. And in this moment before the door closes, they want to know, what can we do for you? What do you want? What is it that we can do? The vision is over. Because the question is only answerable by each individual hearing this message. This is real. For in this new energy, your consciousness is beginning to break the barrier and talk to the cells directly. They're starting to hear what your ears hear. They're starting to get the messages by the way you behave. Did you ever know they consider you a celebrity? Did you ever know of the frustration of the DNA? That all they hear are muffled sounds until now. What is it you're going to tell them? If you could ask for one thing, Perhaps in your situation it would be peace. Cellular peace over what is going on in your body or around you. Or perhaps you would ask for a confluence of health, balance, chemistry. What about love? Compassion. What is it that you could give them that they could go to work on right now to create what you came for? Communication would be a good one. This is the vision that I want you to grasp and hold and leave here with, because it's true. I don't care how unworthy you feel. There is an entourage called you that has been waiting so long for you to talk to it. Besides all the divine and the esoteric things that you've learned, there is a body entourage. What would you say to your pineal, which talks to your higher self? That's the control room you walked into. It's the soul. It's the body. It's the innate. It's the heart and the brain. It's the triad that controls all that is you. And you stand right in the middle of it, and you're a celebrity. Did you feel for a moment in the vision the love the body had for you, the shock and the surprise and the delight of being able to touch you, look upon your face, all of them with your name? It is time, dear ones, to make the vision real and know that nothing that has ever happened to you is going to keep you from marrying to those cells, to talking to those cells. You are worthy. You're a celebrity. Don't let anybody or anything or any situation talk you out of the truth of this. Feel it in your very soul as you sit there. You are worthy of this. So let's get going. Void the things that keep you from your own magnificence. That's the message, as it always is. Feel it, know it, embrace this new group of friends. The flashbulbs are still going off. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The room is filled with those I know. Those who listen later, I know. And this is because all of you are part of a larger family. A family that hides from you while you're here. And I want to talk about something. It's a subject we have broached before, but not necessarily in this way. Here is a brand new energy for the planet, and you are in transition between a consciousness of the past and that which is a promise of the future. How many times have we told you that moving literally from a darker area to a lighter area brings with it joy, anticipation, and also the old energy? For a flash bulb doesn't simply go off and everything is fine. Instead, you have to work the puzzle. We've given you many channels about what takes place when you move from a lower to a higher place. some of the habits, some of the biases, some of the things you don't even know you've done. There is one thing, however, which is common to most, something that has got to be cleared, not because there's old things attaching to it, something that has to be cleared because of who you are. And when you hear what it is, you'll know, for we've spoken of it before. So let's begin at the beginning. Things that you should know about yourself, not what you've been told is there. Things spiritually that are so true and beautiful that perhaps you've forgotten. Things that are not taught today in the spiritual systems that you have. Not like this. I want to go back to the beginning. And the beginning, as I am going to see and say, is with the teaching that began. Dear ones, you have a creation story all over the planet. Various cultures have various creation stories. The one that in this culture you may have grown up with, the most popular one, is very similar to the one that we teach as the seeding of the planet. So listen again for just a moment about this amazing thing that took place biologically, esoterically, with humans about 200,000 years ago. There was a shift, a change, a major one. And if you wipe away all of the physics of it and the physicalness of it, what really took place was a beautiful switch, an implantation within the human being of discernment of light and dark. The knowledge for the first time of the Creator. Free choice to see it or not. Intuition. Beauty. Discernment. All of these things were new. There was a leap in evolution 200,000 years ago, designed not by accident. It is the creation story. It's in your Holy Scripture, told perhaps differently, but it's there, the same story. You are human beings, mammals like any other on the planet, and something happened. An angelic force came down. And with the creation story you heard, it was the Adam, it was the Eve, it was the Garden of Eden, all metaphors, again, for what took place that we've told you about, where you received the beautiful knowledge of light and dark, discernment, choice. It's all over the planet. So now I'm going to put you in the place of the Creator, just for a moment. The question of, like, what would you have done? Let's say that you have the mind of God. And let us say that you have seen this miracle. It's gone by design, and you were watching it. What would you do next after the seeding had been complete? To give you a hint of where I'm going, let us say you take a small child and you say, I'm going to give you something amazing and beautiful. I'm going to put you in a library with the knowledge of everything. And you can then choose between the books. And then you go away and you say on the way out, oh, sorry, we never taught you to read. Thousands of books, and you can't touch them. You don't know what's in them. So would it make more sense to have a creation story accompanied then by teaching? And their scripture says nothing about that, nothing at all. So human beings are then given all of this and then left to fend for themselves. There is no teaching from the angel. Truly, Scripture will tell you that the masters then came, and there were many of them. And through history and cultures, there were many of them. But the source that did the seeding, the angelic energy that had the force behind the creation story, simply left. And you were on your own, and then the stories began that you hear. But my story is different. It's more logical that the seeding occurred and the teaching began. You cannot take that kind of a change, place it on humanity, and walk away. Instead, we told you that those who gave you the seeds that were those from what you call the seven sisters, they stayed and they began the teaching. Now, the actual seeding began a long time ago. Very, very gradual, and much had to happen biologically before you got to a point where all were ready. And that was the 52,000 year point. There have been 2 cycles of the wobble of earth involved in human's civilization, where you were there in a succinct enough way to create that which you have done. Everything leading up to 52,000 years ago was preparation. And then came Lemuria. And then came other places on the planet where you were being taught. Not just Lemuria, there was more. Lemuria was special because it was isolated. And that means it could last far, far longer without any kind of visitation in the 30,000 years that the Lemurians were Pleiadians and had Pleiadian teachers. So here we are. The teaching started when the seeding was complete. You're not going to get that in Scripture. You're going to have a creation story, and then everybody's gone. That in itself, dear ones, does not make sense. It's not logical that God would put you in a place and give you this beautiful knowledge and then do nothing with it. No teaching, no instructions. It's almost like dark went to light, and then the angels disappeared. That's not even logical, dear ones. No, there was teaching. And the first things that were taught, the first things, with the teaching wheel with 5 spokes, was, who are you? That is what the Pleiadians wanted you to know, where you were from, what this was about, how it works. All the teaching was there. The teaching of the return to the middle, the teaching that you have God inside, and the seeds of those who were teaching you. If the angels came down in the Garden of Eden and had Adam and Eve and did what you heard that they did, does it really make sense? They didn't say to both of them, and now you have what we have. And now you have that which is light in you. And now you have a piece of the Creator in you that we've just put in you. Use it wisely. Here are some hints. There was none of that that was given you. None of it. The truth is, we stayed and taught. The creative source represented by the Pleiadians stayed and taught, and we taught a long time. Doesn't make sense to give you the library without teaching you to read. And that's what we did. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you've lost something. And you need it back, and you need it back quickly. One of the most beautiful aspects that you were taught. The Pleiadian mothers, you call them the star mothers, the teachers, would sit. Beautiful information would come out, and they would tell the children. They would say, look at your mother, meaning the one who is the teacher, and they would say, I want you to gaze upon us because someday you will be us. We want you to gaze upon us from the stars because this is the lineage of earth. We want you to gaze on us and see the beauty of the God that created you is in us and is in you. We want you to understand that you will always return to the center. No matter how many lives you think you have, no matter how long you live, that it goes both ways. You come and go from this planet, the center. You come and go because this is the system. You see, you always return to the creation, and then you go back, and then you come and you go. It's beautiful. It's a push-pull system, coming and going with the beauty of God inside. You are God. That was taught to the children. And they understood it. They understood it because they were looking at it. They saw it. The children became adults. The children's children learned the same thing. And off they went cautiously to be born yet again in other places on the planet to carry this message and carry this message and carry this message. And over civilizations, dear ones, with free choice, human nature and the efficiency of dark and light began to be changed. And you know what happened. With free choice, darkness was chosen over light. So many of the civilizations destroyed themselves because they didn't understand any more than darkness. Those who understood and still had that full experience of God inside were put aside and beat up. There was too much power in the light, and the darkness knew it. And slowly, you have what is that which you grew up in, dear ones. Civilization after civilization created much the same light and dark ratio. The light was hidden, put aside. It's interesting, in every single civilization, something took place. Secret societies sprung up. And the secret societies had to hide the knowledge of God inside. But the darkness said, look, there's a secret society there. They must be doing evil things. There must be sorcery there. Don't go there. Don't believe it. The beginning of conspiracies, the beginning of darkness in every corner, the beginning of mistrust. Even those who had the knowledge of God inside in a secret society were called the devil. And the darkness always seemed to win because human beings would then believe the worst in everything. That defines dark energy. And the beauty of God inside was suppressed. It's almost like you had a piece of gold shining like the sun that was you. And over time, the dirt and the dust got on it, and the gold went away. And here you sit today with dusty gold. Now that's a metaphor for lack of self-worth. It's common. It's common not just with old souls. It's common for humans. For most of the humanity that has come and gone on this planet and reincarnated experienced this, just like you did. That to say that perhaps you were God, or you had any powers, or you knew how consciousness would work, would be a death sentence. Even the shamans, the ones who could make the magic, the ones that would be turned to change the weather, even they were in trouble all the time. Because if something didn't go exactly right, then they were blamed and often terminated. Some of you were them. You are your own ancients, and in that old soul, some of you were them. Some of you were born spiritual with knowledge, and as soon as you were able to grow up and walk, you were actually following the same path yet again. Never ever believing your parents, never ever going to certain kinds of religious structural organizations. Others of you awakened later. But all of you have dusty gold. Lack of self-worth comes from lifetimes of not being believed, of having to cower in the dark. Some of you have awakened with the knowledge intuitively not to push the envelope of light. Just to behave yourself. Don't come out of the closet too quickly or at all, because you might face it again. But even the ones who've come out, even the ones who are teachers, even the ones who write the books, even the ones who sit in the chair and channel, have dusty gold. The truth was given to you, old soul, by those who seated you. What you did with it, you get to look around and see. Morphed into rules, into negativity, into dysfunction, into many things. Even those who know the truth about the spoke of returning, about the original teaching, even if you know it, you've got dirty gold, dusty gold. In other words, in this room and listening to me, those humans who want to move forward so badly, those humans who say, yes, I'm seeing the light, still suffer from doubt, fear, and lack of self-worth. We know this. We know this. Now, I want you to cognize those words. Spirit, God, the creative source, anything you want to call it, knows of this issue and is ready to help you wipe away the dust so it can shine like the light. And all you have to do is start claiming it. And if you want something to imagine, if you want a visualization, use the one I've just given you. Old soul, you shine like the sun, like pure gold polished so you can see your face in it. And I want you to consider for a moment what it would be like to simply take your hand, even without a cloth, brush away the dirt and the gold, the dust, and see in the gold in your face. See the reflection of your own face in that. And the metaphor for you as you do it will be brushing away doubt, brushing away that which is something that you can't really identify what's wrong inside when you don't believe in things. What's wrong inside when you don't want to come along with a program of beauty or benevolence or compassion. What's wrong inside? What is it that blocks you from believing some of the things that are presented? That's the dust on the gold. It's history telling you it's not real. It's history that's telling you it's dark. It's history that's giving you conspiracies against it. It's all that you've been through. And right now, in this energy, in the light, that gold is waiting for you to simply brush the dust away. And when you do it, even when you begin to do it, even if you consider it, things start to change. If you want to grasp some of the principles that are given here by Kryon, in this chair, in the many chairs for 28 years, if you're ready to go to the next level, it's time to brush away the dust. Because that will be the catalyst for everything you've asked for. Oh, depressed one, I know who's here. I know who's listening. It is so difficult for you to climb out of this thing. Unless you knew something, we know the issue. God is not in a vacuum on the other side of some black veil. God is not judging you for what you've done or what you haven't done. Instead, God is there next to you, waiting and saying, brush it away, blow it away. Here's a cloth if you need it, but do it. And then you'll see who you are. Your face in the gold, the reflection of you, the image of love. The Pleiadian teachers taught the children that they were created in the image of love. That is the Creator. They were created in the image and the beauty of compassion. That is the Creator. That teaching is still with you. It's in your Akash. All you have to do is believe it and start brushing away the dirt, the dust, until you can see your reflection in it and say, I knew it. It's true. I am created in the image of love. Dear ones, this is going to be the major catalyst in this new energy for learning all the things you wish to learn. You cannot proceed much further and be in full and complete doubt of who you are. It doesn't happen quickly. It happens as slow or as fast as your past will allow it. Do you understand that? What have you experienced? What have you been taught? What has been drummed into you? For some, not much. For others, a lot. And so some will have to work harder at it. Oh, depressed one, I'm talking about you. But you have to know you have help. We are here. Spirit is here. Others around you are here to lift you up out of this depression and come to a place, listen to me, where you will never have the dust again. You will not go into depression again. The cycle that you're experiencing and have experienced all your life is over. I'm talking to somebody here. I'm talking also to several who are listening. The cycle will stop when you take the dust away and you finally see yourself as worthy to be on the planet. Not just worthy, you've got stuff to do. How does it feel to know that that is still there? You don't have to reach anywhere for it. You don't have to go anywhere for it. You don't have to study for it. Just blow the dust away. And what you're going to see is the beauty that you are. It's so much easier to see love and love yourself when you're not looking into something you can't even see, a mirror that is so dark. How are you going to see yourself to even know who you are when you're looking at a mirror that has so much dirt on it? Brush it away. Start to see that mirror, that reflection, that gold of God in you. It never changed. Only history changed it. Only what you were told changed it. And it's time to grow up and make your own decisions about who you are and what your relationship is to the universe, to the Creator, to the God inside. Oh, beautiful one. Oh, magnificent human being. I know what that reflection looks like. Go do it. It's time. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. We continue. The messages from the other side of the veil, they don't change because the channelers change. The message is the message. You could have a number of channelers in the chair passing. Between them, message to message to message. And if they're really tuned in, it's the same message. One complements the other. And the message of the evening, right now, is a plea for self-awareness. It's a plea to drop that which is the human part of you just for a moment. Today you were taught about coherence. You got to see the example and hear the testimonies of those who discovered that if they can bring coherence to their life even for a moment or two, imagining compassion, imagining love, the chemistry of the body starts to cooperate with them to the degree that it continues to generate it. For hours and hours, it continues to generate it. We're going to talk about spiritual chemistry, and there is both esoteric consciousness and body involved in something that, yes, even the pineal gland is part of. It creates a comfort in you knowing absolutely that you're loved. And yet you so seldom get there. That so much information is always going on in your mind that the whole idea of creating coherence starts to become viable, necessary, needed, so that you can stop the tapes, as we say, and start creating not a void, not a vacuum, but a clearing where you can stop everything and feel that which is your essence. And the essence that you have, every single one of you listening, everyone in the room, the real essence that you have is what you came in with. Dear ones, your chemistry and all that is esoteric in your body, your consciousness, and all designed on the other side of the veil to feel the presence of love. To know that this is temporary, to remember at some level what home is, and to create this as much as you can for yourselves. And in doing so, it creates it for others. And in doing so, the others create it for others. This is the prime directive, if you want to use the word, to find God inside. But there are so many who will say, I feel disconnected no matter what. It's really tough to stop the tapes. It's tough to even stop. Some have decided, well, you're going to do this through meditation. All well, all good, all beautiful. But then the meditation stops. There comes a time that it stops. And then you think to yourself, well, all I have done was to create spaces where I can be in touch with who I am, the other side of the veil. And that's really not what I want. I can't be in meditation 24/7. What is it that's going to allow me to not only feel this touch of the face of God in my life, but what is it that I could do that I could feel it all the time, no matter what? I can feel it while I'm cooking, while I'm cleaning, while I'm driving, while I'm at work, at the computer perhaps. Is this viable? Is it possible? Or does it have to be segmented into times when I'm aware and times when I'm not? What does that say about me? And yet, so many of you old souls are starting to ask that question. Because you're starting to understand and realize there's something there. For those of you in the meeting, in the room, there's something here. And it's not a man in the chair talking. There's an enormous energy, a coherence of God, if you wish, that presses upon you right now. Some of you can feel it. And in this, what is the prime directive from the other side of the veil? Why don't you get the prime directives together? I'll tell you what they are. Love, compassion, unconditional compassion. Have you ever thought there might be a time in a meeting like this where you could do something? Create a space where whatever you did would last a lifetime. Create some kind of coherence that's so powerful that it sticks with you. It sticks with you so much, that's all you want. Because it feels so good. And then you realize you can create it by yourself. And then you realize self-realization. I'm a factory for spirit. Well, if you've wondered that, is it possible? Why don't we try it? And in this, a group of old souls of like mind, singular purpose and design, who understand the principles, in this we can help one another. When I say we, I'm speaking for my partner, who is also one of you in the chair. Here's the idea. You're going to open yourself up so much that the veil for a moment or two would open to whatever degree is appropriate for you and your life, and you would feel, for the first time perhaps, unconditional centering, unconditional love, as though you were an infant, helpless, in a space you hadn't been before, helpless in a way that was good, because there isn't anything you could do, no matter what flailing, that could change anything you were. And in that helplessness, you would feel the love of perhaps the greatest mother, father, the greatest parenting, the greatest compassion and love, all the relatives standing around looking at you saying, this is magnificent. This is the definition of compassion. And it would be all around you. This is not being self-centered. This is self-realization that you are known by God. And the metaphor of being known by God is so powerful. Not just known, cared about, loved. What gets in the way of you and this feeling is all of the training you've had that you can't go there. Or the training that you've had that says that God is real and loves you, but you can't go there. Not allowed. Or that perhaps you're not magnificent. Or perhaps you're one who is not worthy of the glory of the Creator. So why don't we just change that? For a moment, just for a moment. Are you able to drop the tapes, ignore the sounds around you, and create a timelessness for a moment that would let you feel everything that is yours from the other side of the veil? Stop the clock. Nothing is important. Just for a minute. Nothing is more important than the connection that you are built to have, that this shift is starting to move toward. Fast track this connection by this moment. We're going to turn it into a little meditation just right now, just for a moment. And if you're ready, let it begin right now. I would like to tell you something. You are known. Every hair on your head or anywhere. You have hair everywhere. You have hair. Known by God, counted by God. Every chemical, everything in your body, known by God. Shaking hands with that which is the Creator, whether you know it in your consciousness or not. That is how important you are. This creative source that you are looking at right now, face to face, eyeball to eyeball, is able to be with each one of you 24/7 in such a beautiful, personal, multidimensional way. There's no sharing where you have to have one human at a time. It's all together. All the hearts, all the compassion of the entire galaxy, the universe, right now, pouring through the veil to tell you one thing, that is, we know you. Your soul glows on this planet so much that we surround you with our love. You can never be alone. You have an entourage of your own that can take your hand at any moment, whether you know it or not, whether you let them or not. They're always ready, always ready, always ready. The compassion of the Creator is in your lap. Let it shine with you. Drop the pretenses, drop the blah blah, drop all the things that keep you from shaking this hand that has always been outstretched to you, because you are loved. You cannot conceive it. It is so beautiful, so precious, so bright, so pure, so pure. The consciousness of God is nothing like a human being. It is spectacular in its purity and its silence. This is who you are. Just for a moment. This is the real you. You're part of all of it. All of it. You're your own prophet. You're your own ancestor. So great is this. Come back slowly from this knowledge, this experience. And some of you will never be the same. Because it's a revelation. Nobody told you. It's a revelation that you can dig into the purity. And it becomes you. I've heard the expression, be still my heart, so many times. Be still my soul, so many times. This is the expression that so many on this planet use. That would say, in the stillness of all things in your body, there is a revelation of God. Dear ones, you have the Creator inside you. It's built in. What we just did was not something that is unusual for you to get to a place where the Creator can touch you, because the Creator is inside you. What you've just done was to clear the fence so that you could touch each other. It's built in. You can do this as many times as you want to. It's an effort for some and easy for others, but it's a measure of the coherence you have with the creative source. The more you increase this coherence, the more this planet becomes lighter in so many ways. The end result, dear ones, is not peace on earth, because peace on earth will come with this light and coherence automatically. The goal for the planet is what you do after you have peace on earth. For that's when all of the inventions can be brought to you, when stillness is something that you could have simply by going there. When the buttons are gone that would be pressed in you, that would create fear and anger, distress and drama. This is not a fantasy. Some have felt the reality of this. There are still cultures on this planet who are embedded in this so grandly that they can control even their heart rate. They know who they are. Dear ones, I close with this. Known by God, not just 3 words. This is actionable. That is a word that means it's real. You can act on it. It is something that exists. It's not that which is so esoteric, it's only in this room. It is something you carry from this place, and you live it. You live it. And in that, you can raise your hand to the sky if you wish and say, thank you, thank you, thank you, that I just had the greatest revelation of who I am. For I, you might say, am a part of the creative source of all things. And you be right. You be right. That is the beauty of the soul that all of you have, that is forever, that always exists, even after the body quits. You are you, part of that which is everything. That is the beauty of the message that we bring and will continue to bring. And so it is.